Please welcome up Adobe CTO, Kevin Lynch.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Hi, it's great to be with all of you here today. The discussions this morning I thought were really excellent, and I think I'm providing a little technical entertainment between the discussions, so I'll do my best. The two things that I'm going to be showing you is, first of all, how you can take a picture, which many people design an application using an illustration tool or a painting program, and turn the picture into an interactive application. And also, this week we combined APIs with Flash Platform and Facebook, so I'll be using that as part of the example. So let's go right into the machine here. And what I have here is a design of an application. And this one is being drawn in Illustrator. Today, many applications are created by drawing a picture of them using something like Illustrator or Photoshop or something else. And you can see here I've got fonts and different shapes. And what looks like a button here is really just a little text element and an outline that's colored here blue. And now, the challenge today is that people take these pictures and they give them to a development team and say, please make one like this. However, there's often a loss of fidelity in that process. So what we're doing here is working on how we can really combine design and development more smoothly. So I'm going to switch over to an application we're developing right now called Flash Catalyst. It's in development in beta right now, so it's not out yet. But this is how it works. You can basically import a design from a picture, like from Illustrator, the one we were just looking at. And it's going to bring those shapes into Flash Catalyst and turn them into the beginnings of an application. It's actually converting the shapes into Flex, and then we'll be able to turn that picture into components and interactivity. And so what that means is that we can enable people who do design to express not only what an application should look like, but how it should feel to interact with. So here we've brought in that picture. You can see it looks exactly the same as it was in the illustration. I've got these elements here, and I can select them. You can see that's some text. Again, these are still independent pieces. Here's a scroll bar, but it's actually just a bunch of different shapes. There's nothing there that really expresses that that's a scroll bar yet, other than it looks like one. Now what I can do is start turning these shapes into objects. So I can, for example, turn this text in this outline into a button. And I can do that just by saying, hey, make that a button. And it will actually convert that shape into a button object. And now it's got multiple states. So if I want to do the over state to make it look a little different than normal, I can go in here and I can select one of the components of this object. And I can change its color. So here's you can see the different layers and everything, and all the shapes are preserved from Illustrator. And I can select items like the fill color here, and I can make fill color solid. If I want to, I can type in a hex value, or I can click on a color. You can see I can make it kind of orangish. And now I've actually edited that button. And let's go look at how this is coming along. So I'm going to preview this inside a web browser. And we should see the picture come up. So here's the picture, and right now I can't click on anything else. The scroll bar doesn't work. It's all kind of dead right now, except this button, which is now turned into a live button, which I can now click on. So the illustration is starting to come to life. Now let's go and make this a scroll bar. So I'm going to do that by selecting all the different elements here that look like the scroll bar, and I'm going to say, turn that into a vertical scroll bar. And it will make one. So there it is. And now I can say edit the parts, because I need to say what part is the track, what part is the thumb control. So there's the track, so I've assigned that. Here's a thumb, so I'm going to make that thumb. Here's the up arrow, up button, and here's the down one. So this can look like anything you want, and now I've assigned the behavior of all those different parts of the picture and made it be a scroll bar. Now, here's a text field. It's got some text, and it's just got a box around it. Let's make that text input. There, I'm done. This is going to be a button, so let's make that a button as well. So I've now gone through and added a lot of the interactivity that you'd expect inside this interface without writing any code. Now, I'd like to do some transitions. So to do that, I'm going to duplicate this, and you can see I've created a new little state up here, and I'll call this first one the friend list, if I can spell. And this one I will call the person info. And I want the person info to not show the friend list initially, so I want it to expand when I click on my friends. So I'm going to select a bunch of objects here, and I'm simply going to hide them. And this is going to enable me to start expressing that I don't want those shown when I'm looking at just a person. And these items here should be in a different location, so I'll just drag them where they should be. Here's a little signed in thing and the Facebook logo. I'll put that over here. And I want it to be smaller, so I'm going to grab this and resize it. And so this has now enabled me to just kind of, like in a clay-like way, shape this thing into how I want it to be. And now I've got two different states. I've got the open state, and I've got just the person state. And to go between those, I can create transitions. So I can go ahead and go into my person info, open up my timeline, and I can say, okay, when I go from person info to friend list, I want a smooth transition. So I just press that button, and now I've got a bit of a smooth transition now that will actually reveal that pane. Now you can see the list view comes in a bit too early, so if I want to change that, I can make it so that those items actually come in after the background appears. So I can do that just by dragging these in the timeline, and now you can see I've got a much smoother reveal, again without writing any code. Now, if I want to make this button go to that state, I can just select the button, and I can add an interaction. I can say, okay, on click of that button, I'm going to do an action. Here I'm going to transition to a new state. I'm going to go from the person info to the friend list. So all I got to do is pick go to the friend list. And now that button should do that. Now the last thing I'm going to do here is duplicate this again and make it so it starts just with the search field and then expands into a person. So here I'm going to make this be search. And to get to this state, I'm going to hide a bunch of this stuff. So just got to go and hide those things by hiding their layers. Looks like I missed this one here. All right, oops, no, don't want to do that. There we go. All right, so I'm going to hide those two things. And I want these things to come up to the top. So again, I just select them, drag them up to the top, and I will make this guy go smaller. And when I press the search button, I want it to expand into the person view. So I can again say on click, transition to person view. So now I've actually defined 3 different states of this application and the interactivity between them. And let's go preview that. So here I am back in the browser again. Here's the Friends button. I can click on things. I can type inside this text field now. You can see that. Now, it doesn't actually start in the search state, so I'm going to tell it to do that. So set that as my default state. Let's try this again. Okay, it starts in a small one. I can type in here. I can click on that. It reveals. I can click on My Friends. It slides to the right and reveals that. Isn't that cool? So now, the next part is, this is actually generating Flex code in the background. And you can go and you can look at the code here in Flash Catalyst if you want, and you can see what it's generating. But the cool thing is now I can hand this code over to the development team, and it includes not only the expression of what things look like, but all that interactivity is already there. So what I get inside Flex Builder, which I'm using here now, as a developer, you can see I've got all the different graphical elements. I've got the different states that I've defined, 3 states here defined in MXML. I've got all the design layers. I can connect events to these things. I can now go to town writing code to show how this will actually connect to Facebook's APIs. And here you can see is some example of doing that. You can basically use Facebook events, which are a model now inside of Flex, and you can subscribe to them, and you can do things like, when you log in, get an event, show an alert on error, things like that. So very easy now for a developer to take that user interface with the interactivity and now connect it to the back end, the business logic, or the server side. And now let's see what that looks like when it's actually running. This is the Julia Child part, where now I've got it all hooked up. So this is the friend directory app that I just showed the picture of. And now I can search for a friend of mine. I'm signed into my Facebook account. There's Tim O'Reilly. So it pulls up information from the Facebook feed, shows it in the user interface using the transitions I defined from Illustrator to Catalyst. And I can look at our friends that we have in common. Here's the scroll bar, which is now working as we defined inside that illustration. And here's clicking to go to another friend, so you can add more interactivity if you want to. So you can navigate around here and build a working application from picture to interactivity to connecting to the back end. So this is using Flex. Flex is open source. It's free. You can go to flex.org and see more about it. And Flash Catalyst is in beta right now and coming out soon. So thank you.